It's truly an environmental disaster. The usually beautiful St. Lucie River, even parts of the Atlantic Ocean on Florida's Treasure Coast, now an ugly shade of green. It smells. Fish are dying. Businesses and tourism all suffering. And it's because of toxic algae coming from Lake Okeechobee.
Mike Connor with RiversCoalition.org joins us now live from Stuart, Florida. Mike, I want to fill in a few blanks for our viewers who are outside the area. I think first and foremost, what's actually causing this?
It's too much nutrients in a body of water. It's become fresh. Our estuary is normally salty, brackish during the summer, and we have all fresh water all the way to the inlet, out to the beaches, because Lake Okeechobee, the heart of the Everglades, is being shunted our way. And on the west coast, the Caloosahatchee River near Fort Myers. So our rivers turned to a freshwater body, which is letting the algae grow. So many nutrients from runoff.
Well, Mike, the Army Corps of Engineers maintains a certain water level on Lake Okeechobee, and these water releases are pretty normal procedure. Why is it so different this year that it's causing this algae bloom?
Well, it's normal procedure, but this year they started the discharge in January. We had a pretty wet winter, January, but we've had 150 billion gallons of water, polluted fresh water, come into the St. Lucie River since January, and there's no end in sight. This year is different. We haven't had this kind of discharge duration in recent memory. That's why there's so much algae. Algae flourishes in fresh water, and if there's nutrients in fresh water and heat, summer heat, it's the fuel, and it blooms. And we have a situation which I never thought I'd see. It's terrible.
And how does this affect the wildlife, whether in the water or around the water?
Well, it's a cyanobacteria, and it releases microcystins at some point, and that is toxic. Toxic to marine life, is toxic to human beings at a certain level. Lake Okeechobee itself had algal blooms over a month ago, and the Army Corps lets the water go to our estuary to keep the lake level low because of fear of a breach of the dike. And that sent all that algae our way, and now our waters are so nutrient filled, we have our own blooms. And it is just horrible. It's horrible. And we have a fish kill going on, and we don't see the end in sight. That's the problem.
Michael, we know that businesses are hurting. Ocean, we're doing a lot of fishing charters. People are canceling those. Paddleboard companies aren't even renting. Like, they have zero business right now. How difficult is this for businesses when this happens?
Well, it's impossible. It ruins business. We've had these discharges an average of twice, 3 times a decade for 80 years since that canal was built from Lake Okeechobee. And it's something we've lived with for far too long. This year is particularly bad because of the duration, the amount of water, and the high nutrients coming from Lake Okeechobee, which takes water from the north, from dairy fields, from cattle ranches, from ag industry. It's all funneled in the lake. The lake is really almost eutrophic as far as nutrients. And, of course, it gets shunted to the coast. So we're actually like an extension of Lake Okeechobee right now.
Yeah, and the Army Corps of Engineers controls that release. So late this afternoon, they said that they are going to, in response to the state of emergency, lower the outflow. Is that going to be enough? Or I think a lot of people are watching going, all right, can we reverse this problem? How do you fix this?
The only way to stop it temporarily is to stop the discharges of fresh water into our estuary, to close the gates 100%. Well, we had as much as 4 to 5 billion gallons a day 3 months ago. We're having over 1 billion a day now, and now they're ramping it. They're cutting it back to about 750 million gallons a day. That's a lot of water, a lot of nutrients still. So really, that's a help, but it's not going to stop this algal bloom. And we're just getting into the summer heat, and we're having a warm summer, so it's a perfect storm for this algal bloom, and they need to shut the locks altogether. I'm not sure whether that's going to happen or not.
What's the solution to this, Mike? The governor's declared a state of emergency. Even saw that Bill Nelson is coming out hard against this. What can the politicians do? What can the Army Corps of Engineers do? What can groups like yours do to keep this from happening?
Well, the real fix in the long term is to buy land in the Everglades aquaculture area outside the lake to the south. The lake needs a third outlet. As nature had it before man populated around the lake to do agriculture, Lake Okeechobee spilled its banks naturally over the Everglades to Florida Bay, the River of Grass. The dike around the lake is a dam, essentially a dam, and the agriculture area is where the wetland used to be. We need a piece of land which was on the table for a purchase in 2008, 60,000 acres to make a dynamic storage flowway to release the pressure off the dike, get the water moving south. By doing that, you'll eliminate the discharges completely from the coastal estuaries. It's a win-win for the Everglades. It's good for Florida Bay, the Florida Keys economy. Florida Bay is dying from hypersalinity, needs more fresh water. We're getting the water that the bay needs here.
Mike, thank you so much. Great insight, and we really appreciate your expertise. Mike Connor with riverscoalition.org. We're right back.